Hello and welcome to Mease Castle of my FE4 0% growth low turn count playthrough. So, right off the bat, since I didn't do it in the last segment, Leaf is going to be clearing the arena, or as much of it as he can. The last boss he can't kill. Maybe if I gave him the sleep sword it would be possible, but he doesn't need it. He manages to save enough civilians to be in good shape. So yeah, it's just a little bit of hero sword rigging. Now, in terms of this castle itself, it's essentially just a gauntlet of enemies you have to run through, a bunch of Wyvern Knights who are normally super easy. And they are, but the issue is they're on they come from two sides and can fly, so your weaker units are hard to deal with, are hard to keep alive. I realized in retrospect that I really should have gotten Daisy to keep the prayer sword. She had enough money to buy it and repair it to have a certain number of uses, and yeah, so if I wanted to increase the reliability of this segment, that would be a major improvement, and I could definitely do it, but the point is, there's about one part of the past castle where I need to do about 15 to 20 minutes of RNG abuse to get the Bloom boss kill. It's not that unreliable, but the RN chain was being uncooperative, so I didn't want to do it. Here's a little funny thing. Ghost Bloom talking to Ishtar, who just spawned. I think I kind of broke the events of the game here. This isn't supposed to happen. Ishtar just stands there as a neutral unit. Even though she's of an enemy type that you normally shouldn't be able to attack, you can attack her. But oh well. She doesn't move an attack. She doesn't even belong to a castle. She will counterattack if you fight her. I'm gonna put her to sleep later on to get money, but yeah, just one of the places where I break the events of the game. The other one is going to be next chapter, where, well, you'll see what happens. It's not in as visible a way, just a little bit of talking, but yeah, it happens a few times when you play at this pace. I wonder how much I could break if I used the rescue glitch in a play with growths. I wonder what the lowest turn count would be in a growth's low turn count with the rescue glitch. Maybe I should try that sometime. Anyways, Oifi needs to repair the light sword, because he does a bunch with it still. Unless it doesn't fight much in this chapter, but he has one very specific use. So, the unit that spawned at the castle was Seti, who is often given whole Seti, but doesn't have on this playthrough because the rescue staff saves more turns. All whole Seti really helps with his reliability, which, while important, I don't need, so he got the axe, but essentially he passes down the rescue staff, can resurrect someone, which allows an important unit to die here, which I normally can't do. And what else? Oh yeah, it just has access to all staffs. His stats are pretty good, but the issue is he has 25 health and low defense, so he will soon be in the gets one-shotted by everything camp alongside Layla, Celis, and Leaf probably. Yikes. Well, not one-shotted. In fact, I bought Celis the shield ring because he's going to need it later on in the playthrough. So I had to redo the first part so that Sylvia was just 2 spaces forward, which let Celis recruit Seti on this turn instead of next turn, which saved a bit. So the rescue staff, Seti obviously can't do much with. It's going to be given to Leaf, who's now gobbling up children, so that he can use the rescue staff in the next chapter. He manages to take 3 of them. He doesn't have time to get all of them because, unfortunately, Manster is seized, and they disappear, but I fed one to Alessa so that he can, hopefully, fingers crossed, get promoted in Chapter 9 without having to buy him the Elite Ring too, but I'll have to see. But yeah, he's going to get enough experience to promote to Master Knight after a bit of arena shenanigans. I probably won't even need to do Sleep Sword. And since he has Bargain Ring and a bunch of things to sell, he's set on cash. I'm not sure where I'll need to put Daisy's money dumps from now on, probably into Shannon, because I need to give him a lot of lives. But yeah. Oh, you saw that little thing there? The empty phase, yeah. The game still kind of registers Ishtar as an enemy. You can attack her, but she doesn't belong to a castle, but it shows that in the phase. And yeah. Okay, here's the one interesting strategic part of this chapter. The rescue formula prioritizes units going above, then right, I believe. But by having, it might be the other left first, but by putting a less there and having the impassable mountain to Seti's right, Layla went in the best possible position, one to the left, which essentially meant that she's 2 squares closer, and if she wasn't those 2 squares closer, the 10 turn I'm going to have of this map would be impossible. Anyways, of this setting down here, you can tell that that's not going to be very reliable. So there are 2 important things about the positioning. First, having cells directly left of Layla instead of going further forward. If I don't put him directly left, the enemies might block Layla's path, and Oifi and Cels need to use all their attacks on other enemies, so if they're clearing out the path for Layla, that's not good. I'm into the RNG abuse segment, but I have one more thing to say about Oifi. You saw that he was positioned further right. This is important so that he can kill the captain of the Dragon Knights near the castle next turn. And anyways, now I have to do an absurd amount of RNG abuse to make sure that Layla survives. I could have made it more reliable by getting her the prayer sword, but I don't want to replay the first segment. But that's something I definitely could have done. She had 1,000 spare golds, and that would have been enough to give it enough uses to keep her good. But anyways, now skip it until 9-10. It's terrible, I know. It could be pretty reliable with the prayer sword, but didn't think of that soon enough, so sorry about that. And I also didn't think I could 10 turn this chapter, but yeah. So, yeah, come back at 9:05 when this RNG abuse will be over. And that's finally over. So now you're going to see probably, I'm not sure, maybe the most unreliable enemy phase of the playthrough. Essentially, Layla is on a road, reducing her evade. Unfortunately, she doesn't have prayer, like Sylvia did. Has to dodge a whole squad of Wyvern Knights. It's not a good setup. Also, Oifi has a small chance of death as well, as he takes on this whole squad. And here you see why I think that perhaps Oifi is the most underrated unit in Fire Emblem 4, even with growths. Like, honestly, that magic stat, the ability to one-round all these enemies from 2 range, like, it's incredible. Sword users can't do that, and javelins are heavy as a brick. Like, this is so good. This is, like, I'm not sure if Aless or Oifi contribute more to this playthrough, even with the holy weapon taken into account. Like, Aless couldn't do that. Anyways, here all the dodging happens. So, as you can see, sure, I managed to rig Layla to survive this, but how could I possibly rig her to survive the next enemy phase? And I don't, but the good thing about Claude Seti is Valkyrie's staff, so she's coming back to life in time to contribute next chapter, so yay. And yeah, another way it could have increased reliability here, because Seti is also at a risk of death, especially next turn, is to have Claude pass down the wind tome, because lightning's strong, but it's heavy. Wind would probably be better, but oh well. Or if he almost dies here. And this is the last time in this chapter, and maybe the play that the Earth Sword does a lot. It's surprisingly useful. As an enemy phase weapon, it's obviously terrible, because it runs out of uses so fast, but it's definitely good to occasionally get health back, especially because there's no good way to keep a healer up with my army in this generation. Jan can contribute a bit, but she doesn't make it into the rescue formation, and Leaf is usually too concerned with rescuing, so yeah. So here I'm going to go out of my way to have Oifi kill that captain. The reason I have to kill that captain is because of squad AI. There's some enemies waiting back into the castle, some Wyvern Knights, that can get in, that will fly out as you near the castle, as long as the captain's alive. And if the captain's still alive after this turn, they'll all fly out of the castle and block Celis, and I'm not sure how much they block him, but they might be deep enough that it's impossible to both clear path for Celis and to kill the boss. So that's why on the last enemy phase, super unreliable one, I had Oifi move one less square as far as possible towards the castle, so that on this turn he could kill the captain. And yay! Put Ishtar to sleep. Didn't really feel like killing her. She can just sleep here forever, belonging to a castle that doesn't exist. So I wonder if the game developers just never really thought that someone would ever possibly manage to clear this to clear the first castle in 5 turns or under. Because I'm pretty sure that with growth's a 3 turn is possible, but I mean, of course they didn't design the game with low turn count in mind. Why would they take a self-imposed challenge into account? Seriously, just waiting though for, like, in some Fire Emblem game for the events to be programmed in such a way that, well, it wouldn't work in any other game, but say another game like this where the events were programmed in such a way that if you completed the map fast enough, it would break the game in such a way that there's a glitch. That might be possible. Anyways, skip until like 14. I can just talk over this segment. Unfortunately, there was a glitch with the recording where some of it got cut off, and let's just say I had 2 failed recordings. It's kind of tedious to follow instructions. I don't enjoy it that much. So you're going to lose out on part of an enemy phase, but hopefully you don't care too much. Just more dodging and killing. Seti getting kills, not that it matters. Yeah. And Chapter 9 is going to be so much more reliable than this. Chapter 9 is actually probably one of the easiest chapters of this playthrough with the rescue stuff. So yeah, Seti's actually at a pretty major risk of death here because he got hit earlier. I'm not sure why, because he has high avoid and is standing on a mountain, so probably the reason he died so many times was, yeah. Oh, there's the leap, sorry. Got 46 kills on the light sword, that's good, can feed a lot more in the next chapter. This chapter is completed in 10 turns with growths. I have no idea, the lowest would probably be like 8 or 7. But yeah, that's it, cannot be reduced on 0% growths. I'm actually quite proud of this. I didn't know I could get this so low. So thanks, and I'll see you guys next time.